Are we born broken? The problem with original sin. Sin is a word that has been weaponized for centuries. Entire institutions have leaned on it to control minds, generate fear, and keep people small. But what if the entire concept rests on a false premise? What if the story that you were born broken is the ego's greatest scam? A Course in Miracles gives the key in one line. Darkness is lack of light, as sin is lack of love. Sin is not a stain on the soul. It is an absence in awareness, not a presence in reality. When light appears, darkness disappears because it never had substance. Fear-based religion could not sell that message. No one builds an empire on relax, you are fine. So the doctrine of original sin was fashioned into law and legend. You were told Adam erred and therefore you are guilty by birth. Guilty before your first breath, condemned before your first choice. Believe that, and you will spend a lifetime begging for a pardon you never needed. The Course flips the script with tenderness and precision. Your Father created you holy without sin, holy without pain, and holy without suffering of any kind. If God created holiness, wholeness, and joy, then anything unlike these cannot be from God. What is unlike love is an error to be corrected, not a crime to be punished. The ego must turn error into sin to keep guilt alive. Why? Unnatural thinking will always be attended with guilt because it is the belief in sin. If you can be convinced you are guilty, you will accept punishment as justice. You will call your suffering holy and your fear devotion. You will wear grief like a uniform and call it righteousness. Original sin is simply the first projection. The Course names it the original error. It is the belief that the Son of God separated from Source, made a private self, and then crowned that self with fear. But you cannot separate from what is all there is. You can only dream that you did, and then feel guilty about a dream. Listen to this piercing correction. Adam's sin could have touched no one had he not believed it was the Father who drove him out of paradise. The exile story survives only if you blame God. Condemnation requires a condemner, so the ego invents one in heaven. But the Course is unequivocal. Judgment is not an attribute of God. So where does all the punishment come from? From the mind that believes in sin and demands pain as payment. For sin and condemnation are the same, and the belief in one is faith in the other, calling for punishment instead of love. See the switch. Choose sin as your lens, and you must choose punishment as your answer. Choose error as a lack of love, and you choose correction as gentle remembrance. Call it not sin but madness, for such it was and so it still remains. Madness asks for medicine, not a firing squad. That is why atonement is acceptance, not appeasement. It is extremely difficult to reach atonement by fighting against sin. It always comes with just one happy realization. I need do nothing. I need do nothing does not mean apathy. It means stop attacking yourself and let truth do what truth does. It means allow light and darkness will leave by itself. Consider the psychology of being told you are born guilty. If you begin from defect, your life becomes a courtroom drama. Every success is a plea deal. Every failure is a sentence. Shame becomes your judge and fear your defense attorney. But there is no case against a child of God. There is only a mistaken identity. You are not the defendant the ego invented. You are the witness for truth that the Holy Spirit calls. Time controls it entirely, for sin is never wholly present. Sin lives only in memory and anticipation, never in the holy instant. Bring your mind to now, and the charge evaporates. Because now is where innocence lives. The doctrine of born broken collapses under one more fact. If sin were real, it would have to be stronger than God to separate you from him. But the Course teaches, your Father created you holy without sin. What God creates cannot be uncreated by a dream. Guilt cannot improve you. Punishment cannot purify you. Only love reveals what is already true of you. This is the freedom pivot. You do not fight sin. You withdraw belief from it. You do not bargain with guilt. You gently refuse its premises. You let go of the story that God condemned you, and the story lets go of you. Practice for today is simple and strong. Say, I am still as God created me. Say, I need do nothing. Say, I choose correction, not condemnation. Then breathe and let the meaning arrive. Watch how your nervous system lets go when you stop being your own warden. Watch how your kindness returns when you stop believing you are a criminal. Watch how quickly peace appears when you stop arguing with love. You were not born broken. You were born of God. And what is born of God is true forever. So are we born broken? No. We are born beloved. We remain beloved. And nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Picture, if you will, a world where innocence is pronounced guilty before it can even speak, where the very breath of a newborn carries the sentence of a crime it never committed. It is here that dogma declares the soul fractured, stained, and beyond repair. And yet, look closer. The cracks do not mark the child, but the lens through which we see it. The error was never in creation, but in perception. For what God creates remains whole, untouched, and free of sin. The real fracture lies not in the heart of man, but in the mind that believes it was cast out. Step back, and the so-called original flaw dissolves into nothing more than a bad dream. For in truth, no one was ever born broken, and the only inheritance worth remembering is love, otherwise known as the Twilight Zone.